Oh, hey, what's up? I was just reading Jesus for President, one of my favorite books. Welcome, Warehouse 180, to our YouTube channel. Students, we want to offer some YouTube online content for you guys to do a Bible study at home. Some of you guys are in the parks on Wednesday nights. Junior high, you are at Majestic View, which is that way where I'm sitting. High schoolers, you are at Volunteer Firefighter Park in Arvada, which is that way. So hopefully we'll see you there in person. But if not, you can still do the Bible study right here, right now. And you might be wondering, what Bible study are you talking about, Pete? This is my first time watching. Well, let me tell you, okay? Actually, look at my notes. I would love to know, just in the comments below, if you're watching this, what is the best hike in all of Colorado? Do you have like a favorite place that you guys go that's your family's best hike? We should share ideas, so comment below on your favorite hike in all of Colorado. Beautiful Colorado, okay? But yes, like I said, we're doing a Bible study this month in 1 Timothy. The verse that we're doing this month or this week is 1 Timothy 5:21 through 25. So that's what you're going to want to read. You'll want to pause this video, pull out your Bible, a piece of paper, and pen. Go old school. Don't do it on your phone. You might be watching this on your phone. So just don't even worry about that. Get a piece of paper, a Bible, and a pen, and we want you to pause and have some observations. So what is this text saying? What's this passage saying? What's the author trying to say? Or just observe some things, right? Circle some stuff, underline some stuff, be curious about what certain words mean and why they're there. Maybe pay attention to the tone of voice that the author is kind of writing with. One of my observations for this passage, 1 Timothy 5:21 through 25, I just think there's a strong tone. Paul's writing very strong to Timothy. Verse 21 says, keep these instructions. And so for me, I'm like, well, what instructions is he talking about? Because he doesn't list the instructions in verse 21. So I had to go back and kind of look at what all are the instructions that he's talking about. But that's just my observation. I'm making a note of that. So when I get to the interpretation part, I'll look at it. Number 3, verse 23 seems that it's, at first guess, I'm trying not to interpret it yet, but it seems like a personal note from Paul to Timothy. It sounds like a personal line there. So I might need to look at that one too when I go back to interpret. And then lastly, the imagery of the sin in verses 24 and 25 was just interesting to me. I don't know if there's anything there, like, I don't think it's a poem. I think it's literal, but just the imagery of sin trailing behind and was interesting. The interpret stage is, what does it mean? Okay, what does what that guy wrote hundreds of years ago, what does that mean to him back then? And then also, what could that mean today? Start bridging that gap of what does the passage mean? Are there any timeless principles you can pull out? And then lastly, you're going to apply it to your life. How do you live this out in 2020 in Arvada, Colorado? Here are some of my interpretations of this passage. What are the instructions that 1 Timothy's keeping in verse 21? And essentially, it's the whole book. He has been giving instructions from, if you guys remember from weeks ago, of how to conduct yourself and watch out for your speech, stay pure, things like that. And he also even gives some instructions of how to lead. And so that's the instructions, I believe, that he was saying. A question I was trying to answer, verse 21, what does showing favoritism mean? So you want to kind of figure out what favoritism looks like. And sometimes leaders favor other people, and so avoiding that and just treating everyone the same is very important. And then lastly, I thought it'd be fun to just, Paul's point in verse 24, 25, could we sum that up in one easy to understand sentence? And so this was my sentence that I came up with. Be careful in following leaders, because there is always more to the surface than what you see. So just, there's a caution there when you're just following people, like there's probably more to the story than what you see. And then lastly, to apply it, live it out, how, I guess I ask a lot of questions. How would you lead without showing favoritism? What does that look like for you? And what is one way that I could be careful in following leaders And I think getting to know them, truly getting to know them and ask questions. I think sometimes in Christianity we're really nice and we don't want to ask hard questions and think, are you really looking out for my best interests? So making sure that as I'm following leaders, I'm not just getting enamored by what they say, but watching how they live and, okay, do those line up? So that could be an application of just paying attention to how they live and what they say. Well, Warehouse, thanks for joining us this week. We have been thrilled to see you guys in person, but also thankful that YouTube exists for these moments. So thanks for joining the Bible study.